The Gruen Effect. Ever walk into an IKEA or a massive shopping mall looking for a single, specific item, like a light bulb or a frying pan, and walk out 2 hours later with a cart full of things you didn't even know existed? That isn't a lapse in your willpower. That is a calculated psychological trap known as the Gruen Effect. Named after architect Victor Gruen, this technique intentionally designs a retail space as a confusing, highly disoriented, one-way maze. When you first enter, you pass through what retailers call a decompression zone, a space that forces you to slow down. From there, the path bends and twists, intentionally obscuring the exit. As you lose your physical sense of direction, your brain experiences what psychologists call scriptural paralysis. Your original shopping plan is completely wiped from your working memory. Because you can no longer navigate efficiently, your brain shuts off its logical, analytical thinking and hands the wheel over to your impulse centers. You stop shopping for what you need and start buying what the maze tells you to buy. The essential trap. When you visit a standard grocery store, have you ever noticed that the absolute essentials, milk, eggs, cheese, and fresh meat, are always located at the absolute furthest, deepest corners of the store? This is called the essential trap, and it is a masterclass in layout manipulation. Grocery stores know that 100% of shoppers need these baseline staples. By placing them at the back, they create a mandatory gauntlet. To get a single gallon of milk, you are forced to walk past thousands of brightly colored, highly processed, high-profit margin products like sodas, chips, and candies. Furthermore, they strategically place the bakery near the entrance. The smell of fresh bread triggers your salivary glands, simulating hunger. By the time you navigate the maze to the back of the store to get your milk, your brain is primed to reward itself, making you highly susceptible to grabbing snacks on your way back to the registers. The tile illusion. Even the floor beneath your feet is playing mind games with you. Next time you are in a high-end supermarket or department store, look down at the floor tiles. In the standard aisles, like the cereal or cleaning supplies section, the floor tiles are large. But as you approach the expensive, high-margin aisles like the gourmet wines, organic foods, or luxury cosmetics, the floor tiles suddenly get much smaller. There is a brilliant, sinister reason for this. As you push your shopping cart over these smaller tiles, the wheels click much faster. Click, 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 click. Subconsciously, your brain translates this rapid auditory biofeedback into a panic response. It convinces you that you are rushing or walking way too fast. To compensate for this illusion, you naturally, automatically slow your physical walking pace down to a crawl. And in retail, velocity equals economy. The slower you walk, the more time your eyes spend tracking the shelves, and the more likely you are to see, evaluate, and purchase premium items. The ketchup and mustard theory. When you get hungry and drive down a commercial highway, you are blasted with visual cues designed to trigger your biology. Fast food chains rely heavily on a concept known as chromodynamics, specifically the ketchup and mustard theory. Have you ever wondered why almost every major fast food giant uses a combination of red and yellow in their logos? It's not a coincidence, it's a neurological command. Psychologically, the color red stimulates your autonomic nervous system. It raises your heart rate, increases your blood pressure, and directly triggers your appetite. It creates a sense of primal urgency. Yellow, on the other hand, triggers feelings of friendliness, warmth, and happiness. But when combined with red, it also induces a subtle, underlying sense of anxiety. This combination does two things perfectly. It draws you into the restaurant out of a sudden craving, but once you are inside, the jarring colors make you feel subconscious discomfort. This forces you to eat quickly and vacate the premises. They don't want you to relax. They want a high table turnover rate so the next paying customer can sit down. Audio architecture. It's not just what you see, it's what you hear. Restaurants use audio architecture to literally control the speed at which your jaw moves. High-end, fine dining restaurants almost exclusively play slow-tempo, low-volume music, usually classical or smooth jazz. This mimics a relaxed heart rate. When you are relaxed, you perceive time as moving slower. You linger at the table longer, talk more, and critically, you order more expensive appetizers, desserts, and high-markup alcoholic drinks. Conversely, fast food joints and busy cafes play high-tempo, loud, rhythmic pop or rock music. Research shows that loud, fast music causes people to chew their food up to 30% faster. It overwhelms your cognitive processing, making you more impulsive with your spending, and causing you to clear out of the restaurant faster, making room for the next wave of consumers. The decoy effect. Imagine you're at a movie theater. You look at the menu. A small popcorn is $4 and a large popcorn is $8. Most people look at that and think, $8 for corn, that's a total ripoff. I'll just get the small. But corporations know how to bypass this rational thinking using cognitive bias. They introduce a third option, a medium popcorn for $7.50. Now look at the choice again. For just 50 cents more than the medium, you can get the giant large. Suddenly, the large doesn't look like an expensive ripoff anymore. It looks like an absolute steal. You feel like a genius for capitalizing on the deal. That medium size is called a decoy. It is priced asymmetric to its actual value, and its entire existence is an illusion. The theater doesn't actually want you to buy the medium. It only exists to change your point of comparison and trick you into willingly spending the maximum amount of money. The currency disconnect. Why do mobile games, casinos, and tech platforms hate showing you real dollar amounts? Because of a psychological phenomenon known as the pain of paying. When you part with physical cash, the insula, the region of your brain associated with physical pain, actually lights up. Your brain hates losing tangible currency. To fix this, corporations use the currency disconnect. They force you to convert your hard-earned cash into a proprietary digital currency, gems, coins, points, or tokens. Once your money becomes 500 imaginary purple gems, the psychological attachment to that value is completely severed. Your brain no longer associates those gems with the hours of labor you put in to earn that money. You would probably never open your physical wallet and hand a cashier $5 just to skip a 10-minute timer on a mobile game, but you will gladly tap a button to spend 500 fake gems to do the exact same thing. The slot machine effect. The phone in your pocket is a pocket-sized casino engineered by behavioral psychologists. Consider the pull-to-refresh mechanism on apps like Instagram, X, or TikTok. From a technical standpoint, apps don't need you to pull down on the screen to load new content. They could update automatically in real time. The gesture was intentionally designed to mimic the mechanics of a casino slot machine. When you pull down and release, there is a tiny, calculated 1 to 2 second delay. During that brief pause, your brain enters a state of high suspense. Will you get a jackpot of new likes and viral videos, or will you get nothing? This is what B.F. Skinner called a variable ratio schedule of reinforcement. Because the reward is unpredictable, your brain releases a massive surge of dopamine during the anticipation of the refresh, not the actual content. It chemically hooks you to the physical motion, turning a utility tool into an addictive loop. Default bias. Human beings are evolutionarily wired to conserve energy. Tech giants and massive corporations weaponize this natural trait through a psychological principle called default bias or status quo bias. Put simply, if you give people a choice, the vast majority will choose whatever option requires the least amount of effort, even if it harms them. When you download an app or sign up for a service, notice how certain boxes are already pre-checked for you. Subscriptions are set to auto-renew by default. Privacy settings are set to share data with advertisers by default. Companies like Apple and Google pay each other billions of dollars just to be the default search engine on devices, because they know 80% of users will never go into the settings to change it. By making the predatory options the default and hiding the consumer-friendly options behind menus and opt-out walls, corporations exploit your mental laziness to trap you in their systems. Hostile architecture. Manipulation doesn't just happen on screens. It's built directly into the concrete of the physical world. This is known as hostile architecture or defensive urban design. Have you ever seen a public park bench that looks sleek and modern, but has heavy metal armrests bolted right down the middle? It's not there for your comfort. It is deliberately engineered to prevent unhoused people from lying down and sleeping. Have you seen concrete spikes under highway overpasses or public ledges that are sharply slanted? They are designed to prevent teenagers from skateboarding and citizens from loitering. In some cities, public restrooms use deep blue lighting. It looks like a stylistic choice, but blue light makes human veins invisible under the skin, effectively preventing intravenous drug users from using the space. Hostile architecture uses design to solve social issues through exclusion, quietly dictating who belongs in a space and how long they are allowed to exist there. Sensory disorientation. Step onto the floor of any major casino in Las Vegas or Macau, and you are stepping into a giant psychological isolation chamber. The first thing you'll notice, or rather won't notice, is the complete absence of windows and clocks. Without natural daylight or a ticking clock, your brain loses its circadian rhythm. You lose all concept of time, transforming a 30-minute session into a 6-hour marathon. But look down at your feet. Casino carpets are notoriously, aggressively ugly. They feature loud, dizzying, swirling psychedelic patterns that look like a neon nightmare. This is completely intentional. Psychologists discovered that if casino carpets were neutral or beautiful, people would look down at the floor to rest their eyes from the visual stimulation. By making the floor visually repulsive, your eyes are forced to look upward, refocusing your attention back onto the flashing, hypnotic lights of the highly profitable slot machines. If you enjoyed this video so far, don't forget to leave a like and comment. See you in the next one.